What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And in today's video we have a showcase video for the brand new Super Tandem Kid. Luckily we did pull him during the treasure map Sugo Fest. Was absurd, was not expecting to get him. He has a lower rate than usual, so I'm incredibly blessed that I was able to pull this guy in. In today's video we're going to be using him in a couple of different arenas and also one of the relatively difficult GARP challenges, and just give my thoughts and opinions on the brand new Sugo Fest exclusive Super Tandem Kid. So of course this character is Super Tandem, which we will talk about in this video very briefly. Very interesting unit, but his captain ability is incredibly strong and very straightforward, right? Just giving Driven and Striker characters -3 cooldown at the start of the quest. Like, you absolutely love to see that. Also giving those two classes 5.25 times attack, 1.65 times health, int, quick, and tandem slots beneficial to them as well. So just huge stats, lots of matching slots, and lots of cooldown. So just across the board, it's very good. And then it also will reduce your health by 10% at the end of each turn. So that's the drawback of the character, which makes a lot of sense because the character in and of itself is incredibly powerful. So I think that it is kind of fair that there is somewhat of a drawback to the character. But realistically, if you're using it to farm arenas and other short form content, the minus 10% HP at the end of each turn is going to be very negligent. You're not even going to have to worry about it. But of course, in more long form content, stuff like that you will have to watch out for, and especially content with death hits, you're going to need some pretty serious damage reduction in order to tank stuff like that. So aside from that, that's going to be the only real thing that you have to watch out for. When you do use him as the captain, you're going to get access to his super class special, making driven characters into super driven, giving them that statistical increase. But his actual effect is going to go ahead and do 100 times his attack in typeless damage, and it goes through everything, including base defense as well, which is pretty good, and that's AoE damage. He also gives -1 cooldown to driven and striker, and also will add 0.25 times to the multiplier given to any attack boost that is applied by driven and striker characters. So that's really awesome. So anytime you use an attack boost, it just gets buffed by 0.25, which of course with his special ability, which does a 20% health cut that goes through everything, also providing a really cool chain buff where if anytime a driven or a striker hits a good, a great, or a perfect, it will actually increment your chain by a significant portion. So if you hit a perfect, it's a 0.6 increase to the chain, and this stacks with every other chain related buff in the game. So this is crazy. Just the amount of chain boosting effects that driven characters have right now is pretty absurd. I mean, you've got characters like the new Blackbeard plus this, you got Legend Sugar, which is also driven related, so you got some pretty cool stuff to look out for. But also you've got this guy being an attack booster 2.75 times, so if you use his super class special prior to using his actual special ability, it makes himself a 3 times attack boost to driven and striker. And he also changes all type slots and block slots into tandem, and then he also will put them in slot change impossible for 1 turn, which is pretty good because the enemy cannot change those slots around. And also it says that if you have an attack boost when you launch the special, you're going to be getting a 2.5 times orb boost instead to driven and striker. So that's also very cool. So if you're running double kid, one of the specials isn't redundant. I love the fact that we have special abilities that are so versatile where, they give you 2 different boosts depending on what kind of boosts you already have. So I really do love that. It means that other crewmates that you may use that, also provide an attack boost, Kid is not going to be useless. You can still get an orb boost from it, or vice versa, which is really valuable to have, honestly. And then of course you have his Super Tandem ability. Now the Super Tandem ability is very strange in that you do need Killer, Heat, Wire, or Monkey D. Luffy. You need one of those characters in your team at level 5. So it's really annoying because the actual condition is pretty terrible because there's not many good Killers, Heats, or Wire characters. Killer definitely has the most good units out of them, but realistically there's not really that many good killers that are driven and striker. And then you've got Heat and Wire, and they basically have no units. And then Monkey D. Luffy, there's hardly any, if at all, any usable driven or striker versions of Luffy. So I think that there is just an innate problem with Super Tandem characters in general, and I may make this a separate video in the future at some point but I'm personally not a big fan of the way that they've kind of dealt with Super Tandem right now. I do still think that Super Tandem should have been relegated to Super Sugo Fest exclusive characters rather than regular batch legends. While it is kind of nice in a sense that, you know, these characters are going to be always available in legend tickets and other banners moving forward, so it means that if you do pull dupes of them, they're going to be relatively valuable still, because leveling that Super Tandem ability is going to be good. But a lot of the problems stem from the fact that there are just not a lot of good characters that are usable with these new characters that can fulfill the conditions for Super Tandem. You know, you've got the new batch characters that come alongside these legends, which makes a lot of sense, but outside of that, there's not a lot to go with, and it's not like you're always going to be using these brand new characters that release. And I do concede the fact that, you know, we're pretty deep into this game now. You know, we're in the 8th year of this game's release, and there's a lot of characters that they have to manage, so it's hard to try and find the balance of making a character that is very strong and people really want to get their hands on, but also you got to make sure it's not too powerful that it makes every other character redundant. So I can understand where they're coming from in terms of the design aspect, but I think Super Tandem as a mechanic, while I do enjoy and love using the effect of tandems, I just think that the way that characters are able to activate these effects is just a little too annoying right now. And of course, that is a case-by-case basis, because some characters are very easy to fulfill, like Luffy, and even Kaido to a certain extent. I feel like his batch characters are like so powerful that, yeah, you can use them in a lot of different cases. And I think Trafalgar Law at times is going to be difficult to use his Super Tandem. The new Blackbeard as well, very difficult to use his Super Tandem. So it is going to be case by case depending on what characters they decide to release at a given time. But currently, with, you know, Law, Kid, and also Blackbeard, you're not really going to be using their Super Tandems a lot of the time, but at least these Super Tandem effects are able to be activated on every single turn, rather than the Super Sugo Fest exclusive Kaido, who unfortunately can only use his Super Tandem effect on the final boss stage, so that's a huge drawback to him. But, you know, at least these characters can consistently activate it on any single stage, which is pretty valuable moving forward, in all honesty. But overall, I actually found Kid to be a lot of fun to use, and he has a lot of good usable characters that you can use with him, considering the fact that you can use striker characters which are incredibly powerful, characters like Yamato, characters like Roger Newgate, and a lot of the other versions of Kid that you can potentially hybrid with him, the new Kaido that's released of course as well. There's just lots to like about using Kid as a character, so I think he's a solid unit. And the super type condition, while you can use a character to fulfill the condition, as if you fall below 50% health, which is easy to do, that will also fulfill the condition. But overall, I'm a big fan of this character. Let me know your thoughts and opinions about Kid down below in the comment section. I really hope you guys have enjoyed the video today, and if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the content that I post on my channel, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.